Yep, that's me. I bet you're wondering how I got here. White Sands, New Mexico, a place that's been on my mind for as long as I can remember. The last time I saw it, I was 3 years old. What is this ancient photo? I'm not that old. That being said, this is pretty much what I remember it looking like, so we'll see if that's accurate. You see, much like the name suggests, White Sands, New Mexico is just a big desert of white sand. I haven't seen it for myself in 27 years. It's time to go back and see how it stacks up. All we gotta do is drive 18 hours to get there. And so, we did. But first we stopped in Phoenix and we got some yummy food, and also we met a couple cute little fishes that became our friends, and then we had to see the skyline at night, and then I got a tasty little drink, and then we went to a local arcade, and then I got the high score on Mrs. Pac-Man, and then I totally aced the Wordle for that day. Sheesh, look at that. Pesky in 3 guesses? Dang. And then we were on our way. New Mexico. The final few hours of the drive were pretty much just flat nothingness, and it started to feel like I was just leading us into the middle of nowhere to die. Hey, stop looking at my hot dog legs. Then, we saw it. The most magical words I'd ever seen before, and the easiest decision I've ever had to make. We took a right turn into the dune area. And honestly, at first it didn't look like much. I was trying to temper my expectations a bit so I wasn't disappointed. I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot of sand, it's not very white. There's maybe a few spots I could imagine sledding. You know, it's kind of a unique environment. It's not exactly what I imagined. Doesn't make me feel like the Lisan Al Gaib, that's for sure. But still, pretty cool. Just driving on this little road with sand on both sides was something I was not used to. And honestly, I was down for it. But even though I would have been happy with just this, I'm also quite glad to say there was a lot more ahead of us.
Search Dune on TikTok.
Bro, it was so much more than I expected. My grandest hope was half of what we got.
Is this real life?
It feels a little silly to be this excited about what's essentially just a bunch of sand, which is just a bunch of dirt basically. But being here was so magical.
Is this real life?
Isn't it funny how, like, you know, give me a little bit of sand and I'm like, who cares? But give me a lot of sand and I'm like, huh. I'll drive 2 days to see that. Give me a little pond, I don't even bat an eye. Give me the ocean? I'm gonna avoid that. Look at that, man. Give me a tiny little hill? Who cares? Give me a bunch of mountains? I'm into that. Sledding on snow? Boring. Sledding on sand, now we're talking. When it gets down your pants, it doesn't just melt, it stays there. It stays there forever.
So stupid looking.
I'm a YouTuber now, baby. If I didn't get it on camera, did I really do it? Oh my God.
You broke it? I think I might have broken it.
Oh, I broke it. That's proof it was intense.
What makes white sands so unique is that the sand here is comprised of mostly a sulfate mineral called gypsum, rather than quartz like most sand is. Gypsum is a much softer mineral which makes for a much finer sand. It's also colorless, which is why it appears as white sand. Unlike quartz sand, gypsum dissolves in water, but since there's nowhere for the water to run off to here, after a rainstorm the gypsum dissolves and then dries out again in the sun, creating this flat, cracked terrain that you see here. So yeah, it's not just sand, it's special sand.
I've wanted to come out here for a long time because I came here when I was like probably 3 years old. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a lot of very clear memories when I was 3 years old. In fact, I don't have a lot of memories at all. But I do remember this place ever so vaguely because the gift shop sold little army dudes, like little desert, like tan colored army dudes. Those were sick. You know how sick it is playing with army dudes in this place? It's probably my only memory from age 3. And also that scary pool my grandma had with the killer whale painted at the bottom. Probably the source of a lot of my trauma, my water-related trauma. But guess where I'm not right now? Anywhere near water. This is the safest place for me. In fact, I would like to be nearer to water because I'm thirsty. I would like some water right now. Oh my God. I thought I could stand the camera up by stabbing it into the sand, but that's pretty solid. Sandstone, perhaps? Most of what I know is from Minecraft, so it's either sandstone or it's sand. Those are the only two things I know. The real technique to sand sledding is that there is no technique. No matter what you do, you're gonna hit your butt, and you're gonna hit your butt hard. Especially if you're trying to do it with one hand. Ow! I hit my butt hard! Why am I surprised? That's me, baby. I did that. There's someone just screaming for Melvin right now. I hope that Melvin is okay. He may have sledded too hard. He may have duned a little too hard. It's hard not to do. It's hard not to dune. There's something kind of magical about just wandering the desert. You see, I grew up in mostly foresty areas. So the desert is not my natural environment. I'm definitely like a grass type Pokemon. There's a real chance I could not get back to my car. That's not even like a bit. I've just been kind of walking. Oh, let me just look for some landmarks. Oh yeah, I think that dune. That looks familiar, yeah.
Really, where do we park the car, man? Uh-oh.
Did we park the car? Or did we just get out of the car? I don't remember parking it. This is content, baby. I'm a little bit dehydrated. I had water. And I still have water, but it's in my car. There was an orange cone I saw at one point. Or as we call it out here, a relic of a bygone age. That's kind of my only landmark. So when I see the orange cone, I know that I'm less lost than I was before I saw the orange cone. So I'm really holding on to the orange cone. I hope the audio on this camera is good because I'm making some crunchy footsteps right now. This feels like good news or something. If this plant can survive, why can't I? I'm actually out here. I'm actually in the desert. There's people over there. I think I see Melvin. I don't think you can see Melvin. Oh, thank goodness, the cone. Now that I found the cone, all I gotta do is follow my heart.
Eventually, we did find the car, and it was time to head back to civilization. And all we needed to do was drive 20 hours to get there. But first, we gotta go to Vegas and see a big castle, and then we had to go see whatever the heck this was and admire the fake blue sky, and then we had to go see the sphere, of course, but it looked at me funny, and that was weird, and then, gosh, dude, look at this. I cannot make this up. Thanks for coming along for this adventure. I know this is something very different than usual, so appreciate you if you watched this far. This is not gonna be a usual thing, of course, but I like the idea of a little adventure video every now and then if I go do something silly. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Call 911. Tell them to search Dugan on TikTok.